Hello, everyone. So, if you're just meeting me for the first time, my name is Dr. Coach Ogo, or Ogo if you want to call me that. And my goal with this channel, this community, this company, is to teach you that you could do so much more with government contracts and grants, as well as philanthropic and corporate contracts and grants. So, the lesson for today is how to win contracts and grants, no matter what funding agency is giving it to you. How to win it faster, how to win it easier, and then what to do after you spent all that time putting it together. What can you do with that? So let's get started. It's not just about the money for you. It's about what you can do for your community while making money. You want to be recognized for all your hard work and your commitment to uplifting community outcomes. You're probably a high degree professional. You have your bachelor's, you have your master's, you have your doctorate. But you're not satisfied because you know there is so much more that you could be doing with your skill sets, with your business, and everything that God has really put into you. Well, I'm here to tell you that yes, you can. And there is so much more profit, revenue, income, impact, influence on the back end of this very unique process. So I didn't give you my background too thoroughly. Let me give you my background so you know why I'm qualified to tell you what I'm about to tell you. I'm a systems engineer by trade. Yeah, I'm a systems engineer. I have a master's. I have an honorary doctorate. I'm completing a doctorate. I am one of those individuals where I look at things and I ask, how do we make this better? How do we make our communities better? How do we make the system better? And I fell into grants and contracts by accident. Honestly, me and my husband, we were starting a trucking company. I laugh now, but the reality is that trucking company, as good as it was during the high season, oh man, it came crashing down. But during the periods where it came crashing down, it forced me to think about, well, what industry do I really want to be in that's going to allow me to make impact, but keep me motivated, even during the down times? And it wasn't trucking. It was not trucking. But I look back at that experience because those down times forced me to learn, forced me to explore, forced me to look for different avenues and different things that could potentially change my community and position me to be an impact driver for my community. And then I stumbled upon contracts and grants, which, like most of you, was very intriguing. The government paying me to do work for them. But I'm already doing the work. Some of you, you're already doing it for free. Raise your hand if you are my nonprofit friends. I love you all. But there is a huge misconception about nonprofits. A lot of people go into the nonprofit world and start their nonprofit as their business of choice because they want to improve the community. But what ends up happening is you're spending so much of your time, so much of your effort, and so much of your financial resources to get it done. And you burn out because it's not sustainable. It's not. Now, let me pivot back because we also have our for-profit folks who aren't making any profit either. So I stumbled upon contracts and grants and I realized really, really quickly, like, oh, wow, there is an entire lane that is untapped, undiscovered, and quite frankly, more lucrative and more fulfilling to be in than just to look at contracts and grants from the perspective of, can I make money from the government? And as much as I love my contracting gurus and all the other teachers and coaches out there, love you guys. There is a space for you all in this community, in this marketplace. You are doing some good work. There's something you guys are not telling your clients. You guys are not telling them that there are two sides to contracts and grants. The first side is the traditional side. The traditional side is you help out the government or that funding agency with internal processes. For example, pencils, pens, paper, etc., you name it. You're helping them out with that. And no one knows you're doing that work. Honestly, let's be honest. No one knows you got a government contract to do staffing. No one knows you got a government contract or a grant to supply pencils and pens. No one will ever know until you open your mouth and you tell them. But guess what happens because you're focused on those types of contracts and grants? You can't leverage them. There's an entire space of leverage that most government contractors, most individuals looking for grants are not even thinking about and are not utilizing. So now let me talk about the other side of contracts and grants. It's called the community impact space. That space is where you as an individual, you as a company, you as a business have made it your mission that you're going to align yourself with government agencies, funding agencies, and corporations who are adamant that they're going to transform the communities with their dollars. And when they see you as a valuable asset, they're willing to give you that money so you could do the work that you already said you wanted to do. And funny enough, I meet a lot of nurses and doctors that fall into this bucket. They have given their lives to doing this work. And originally, when I started this company, we started off in the health space, so we are still very strong in the health space. A lot of the work we do still centers in health, but we've since expanded it to including community impact and all the different facets of community impact. But my nurses and my doctors, y'all are the superheroes of the world, but you are not getting paid superhero money. Let me be honest with you. You are not getting paid superhero money, but you're doing the work anyway. And as much as I love that nobility from you, nobleness doesn't pay bills. Nobleness doesn't sustain your business. You're going to have to tap into a process and a system that allows you to leverage those contracts and grants so that you can continue to build afterwards. And the community impact space allows you to do that. So now let me explain the difference between a contract that has leverage and a contract or grant that doesn't have leverage. So a contract or grant that doesn't have leverage, like I said earlier, the only person that knows you're doing it is that agency, is the person that hired you. Maybe their internal employees, because now you need to talk to their internal employees because you're a consultant and you're doing consulting or you're doing organizational redevelopment. Those are great. Don't get me wrong. Those are great. I'm a consultant by trade and I've worked on the back end of large corporations. The government has always been our client. So that's my day to day. But now you need to convert your mindset and you need to ask yourself, okay, I need the contracts and grants that are going to position me to become a public figure. And the reason why you need to position yourself to become a public figure is because public figures get paid. Their sources of income don't dry up. That one contract can pay you multiple times over if you use the right ones to position yourself as a public figure. For example, you're paid $150,000, and this is a real example, by the way. You're paid $150,000 to do COVID-19 education, which a lot of companies were positioned and paid to do COVID-19 education during COVID. You do the education, you're galvanizing the community, you're getting community members together, you're educating them, you're telling them why they need to get vaccinated, you're telling them why they need to be 6 feet apart, you're telling them why they need to wear masks. You are educating, you are putting yourself in the public's eye, and they see the work that you're doing. And then what happens afterwards? For most individuals that were paid during that time to do COVID-19 education, nothing happens afterwards. The work is done. We move on. We chase the next contract. And it's funny now that I'm thinking about it is there's a cycle that we like to call living paycheck to paycheck in the employee world. But a lot of people don't even realize in the contracting world, there are a lot of people living contract to contract. And that's because once that contract finishes, there's no money afterwards. There's no income. You never thought about where is your next pot of gold coming from. On to the next contract, on to the next application. And that's what most people are teaching. And that's what I used to follow. Not anymore. Now I look for opportunities that have leverage built into them so that when I win that first contract or I win that specific grant, I'm going to monetize that afterwards. or in systems engineering terms, I'm going to commercialize that. And commercializing it means now that I have the public's eye, I'm going to use the trust that I've built with the public to create a product or service that is derived from that contract or grant and the service I was already providing for them, to now get the public to pay me to continue doing what I'm doing. And because I was already paid by the government agency or the funding agency to do the work in the first place, getting the public to pay me to continue doing what I'm doing is even easier. A lot of you started your businesses because you really wanted to make impact. You really wanted to serve your community. You really wanted to improve the lives of others. But getting them to trust you is hard. Getting them to give you their dollars is hard. They don't know you. You're a stranger. Sure, you've got some degrees, but they don't know you. They have not built enough trust with you. But guess what you can do? You can leverage that contract or grant. Position yourself to become a public figure. And there's a unique way that we teach in our Contracts Collab community how to get that done. And that automatically, literally, snap your fingers, automatically builds trust with the community. So by the time you are done that contract, you have another product to sell. You have something that they can buy from you on the back end. So your streams of income don't dry up and you're no longer living contract to contract. Don't get me wrong. The government paying you to do work is amazing. But I want you guys to think bigger. My job with this channel, with this company, and with everything we are putting forth, this whole rebrand, is to teach you to think bigger. There is revenue streams, plural, on the back end of every contract or grant. If all you see when you look at a contract or grant is one way to get paid, then you've missed out on multiple opportunities to get paid. And that's what we're going to keep diving into. But I wanted to start off the conversation by saying this is how you win contracts or grants faster, is by 1, focusing on community impact. 2, looking for the ones that have leverage and position you to become a public figure. And then 3, collaborating with experts in your field and across your field, and especially corporate companies, so that you can leverage their influence to not only win that contract on the front end, but resell that contract on the back end. Now, if you're interested in learning more about our Contracts Collab community and how we are using this system to amplify our influence, accelerate our impact, and maximize our income, then you want to click the link and join us for Demo Day. Join us for Demo Day. You will be highly surprised at how this process works and how this one simple system, if you implement it into your business, you could be generating revenue forever. So when I tell people the government could be paying you forever, I truly mean it. You could be generating revenue forever. And at that point, it doesn't even matter if you win the contract or grant. You're always going to make money.